Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to this LinkedIn Live session. I'm Payal Agrawal, and I'm delighted to be your host for today's conversation brought to you by Pronix.ai. Now, over the last few years, we have seen organizations moving from talking about AI to experimenting with AI and now increasingly to actually deploying AI agents within their businesses. And perhaps many organizations have already crossed that first milestone. The first AI agent worked. Maybe it helped automate a process, improve customer interactions, support employees, or deliver efficiencies in a specific business function. But then comes to the much bigger question: what happens when you want to deploy not just one AI agent, but the next 10, 20, or even 50? Because scaling agentic AI isn't simply about building more agents. As organizations move beyond pilots and proof of concepts, new questions begin to emerge around governance, security, orchestration, enterprise integration, and the overall operating model needed to manage AI at scale. And that's exactly what we are here to explore today. Welcome to your first AI agent worked. What must change before you deploy the next 50? In today's session, we'll look at what organizations need to rethink before scaling their AI agent ecosystem and how they can move from isolated experimentation to deploying secure, governed, and production ready AI agents that create measurable business outcomes. And now let's begin this session with our introduction. As I told you, myself, Payal Agrawal, and I'm here hosting this session on behalf of Pronix.ai. At Pronix.ai, we help organizations design and scale production ready agentic AI solutions through AI orchestration, enterprise integration, governance, security, and automation. Our focus is on helping businesses deploy AI agents responsibly, improve operational efficiency, and create measurable value at scale. And now let's hear from our speakers themselves. To briefly introduce yourself, would request our speakers here. Please tell us, our audience, a little bit about your role and your experience in the world of AI. So let's begin with, we have the CEO, Elizabeth Reschelt. Can we hear from you, Elizabeth?
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I am Liz Reichelt, owner of Advanced Interface Solutions. We are a technology consultancy firm where we help organizations become more cost-effective and efficient through technology solutions. We specialize in really procuring solutions of cybersecurity, cloud, phones, internet, but really why we're all here today, customer experience and AI.
Great to hear from you. Now we have Head of Artificial Intelligence, Zakaria Siddiqui with us. Can we hear from you, Zakaria?
Hey guys, so Zach here. Pretty happy to be here. Been the AI practitioner for quite some time, helping a lot of organizations to scale and achieve what they want to achieve from the growth standpoint on the side of AI. So pretty happy for the conversation.
Thank you so much, both of you. And before we get started, we'd love to make this an interactive conversation. So please feel free to share your thoughts. Everyone who is joining us for today's session would request you to please share your thoughts, questions, and experiences in the chat throughout the session. If you have any question for our speakers, please drop them in the chat. You can find that in the right side of your screen, or probably if you're joining through your phone, then it is going to be on the below on your screen. So we'll try to bring as many questions as possible into the conversation. So keep those comments coming, stay engaged, and let's make this a truly interactive session for all of us. So without any further ado, let's get started with our first question. To you, Elizabeth, let me ask you one question, which is, why do successful AI pilots often struggle to scale across the enterprise?
Yeah, great question. So I have a couple points to add here, but the number one thing to keep in mind when really implementing any change in an organization is that you need buy-in from your people. So you really have to explain the business reason why that you are implementing this change. And when it comes to AI, people immediately think like, OMG, I'm going to be losing my job. But no, you need to go to your organization and explain that it is going to be enhancing your daily work, make it more meaningful. So that's number one that I would say to do before you go and scale any AI project is explain the reason why you are going to do it. But some other things to keep in mind is that you need to have an owner. You need a champion that really can hold people accountable, getting the project done, update leadership, have good relationships with other stakeholders, um, and also like keep track of all KPIs throughout the project. Um, and then when it comes to infrastructure, when it comes to rolling out and scaling an AI agent pilot or project, you really want to make sure that you have good data that the AI is pulling from. If as you scale, it's pulling from inaccurate data and the agent is client facing, it could be saying that, let's say someone calls in and says, "Oh, do you sell this product?" And the agent says, "No, you just lost a customer in revenue." So that's something to keep in mind as well. Um, Disconnected systems is another reason why I see AI projects struggle. Is it connected to your CRM? Is it updating your data collection softwares in your company? Is it all connected, or is it just in its own silo, working in the background? And then another thing that I think people kind of in this day and age, they want things to happen like immediately and see results. You kind of have to be patient and have time on your side because these agents need time to learn to solve complex problems. When you first start implementing them, it is they're doing the high volume, low complex tasks. But as you want them to scale into solving more complex problems, it needs to train. So actually, the other day, I was on a call with a supplier on behalf of one of my clients. And as I was waiting to get connected from the AI agent to the human, the AI agent kept checking in with me, trying to solve the problem on his own, even though he knew he wasn't going to be able to, because he was practicing getting so maybe one day he will. So that's another point that I feel like maybe people in today's day and age may not realize is important when it comes to scaling an AI project.
Great to hear from you. Now, next question to you, Zach. What needs to change before organization deploy their next 50 AI agents?
That's a very powerful question. I think the good starting point would be to understand what AI agents are, right? So a lot of people confusing them with some advanced chatbot or probably some very powerful automation, which they are not. The AI agent is something who can help you to make decisions and also make their own decisions going by probability. Right. So when you say, hey, I want to go from one agent to 50, a lot needs to change. It is as if you're adding a complete workforce in your environment that will require all 9 yards, whatever we need to inject humans, right? So if you are using AI agent to its potential, which means, hey, go to my inbox, scan what is happening, match it with my calendar, tell me what is the priority, tell me what I should focus on, summarize my board meeting, tell me who was concerned, grab the tone of people, guide me through what my day should look like. That requires a lot of the clarity and a lot of governance and a lot of hand-holding in the beginning. So it's not fair to say, hey, tomorrow we will have everything taken care by agents. So it needs to be very well thought through to figure out what is that you want to achieve with agents, how secure is that to have agents make those decisions, how reliable their recommendations are, how well connected they are for the context-based information. Because what you cannot do, agents are not effective if their knowledge base is only around one vertical. They need to have a complete context to have a very powerful recommendation or have a very powerful move based on the multiple vertical based data coming into that analytics. So a lot needs to change from the framework standpoint, from how do you register those agents, how do you decommission those agents? What are the rules for agents to be registered in the organization? Who will own them? What makes them effective? What makes them less effective? What makes them relevant? What doesn't make them relevant? At what time you retire them? So it is no different than having your human workforce, right? If you really want to use them at potential. So the first thing, somehow organizations needs to create a context-based engineering atmosphere for agents to be effective. Otherwise, you will be at risk of creating agents and using them as a binary agents, like we used to have a thermostat, right? In everybody's car, you would have thermostat saying, "Hey, when you hit 70, reduce it. When you go the less than this, increase the air conditioning, decrease the heating." These are very binary ones, work in very one dimensional, one centric information. But if you want to implement an agent will say, "Hey, if it's raining, I want this. As soon as I leave the car, this needs to happen. If the people of car increases, then I have five people. That means the heat will go down, the cold will." Like if you have all those scenario-based stuff, you need to create an engineering network for them to have all that context base for all those multiple scenarios to be more effective. So answering your question in a very one line, define frameworks, understand what makes them relevant, understand when is the time to pull the plug, understand if they're redundant. Why I'm saying redundant agent will create a confusion which people have not experienced before, right? It is equivalent to when five people have one assignment. You can imagine the chaos, right? So it will be the same thing with agents. Then what will make it reliable? What three KPIs needs to happen, or five KPIs, or 15, or whatever for that matter, that will tell you saying, "Hey, if this happens, that makes it reliable." You also need to figure out the zero trust security framework. We're saying, "Hey, can somebody hijack my agent?" So you have those traditional security the trainings where they say, "Hey, be aware of phishing. Do not open the email. Do not do this." All that needs to be embedded in your agents. You cannot put it after the fact. Your security needs to be part of your agent manufacturing. Your governance needs to be part of your agent manufacturing. What is right, what is wrong, define it very well so that there is less confusion, less ambiguity. I think it's a very interesting time because the workforce for past 200, 300 years, we had enough time to set those rules, right? We set those rules, what performance looks like, what lack of performance looks like, what happens when somebody don't show up at work, what happens when somebody does. Like all those frameworks being evolved in past 3 centuries, I would say, right? Right after industrial revolution. But with this whole AI thing, AI agent, because it's happening so fast, we need to create a similar framework of expectations, saying what is actually considering them being successful versus less successful versus redundant versus high performance versus low performance. Are you achieving your target? So if it's deployed with lack of clarity, it can create confusion and chaos much faster than any human will create, right? Because it will be doing things which will create a lot of blurriness.
All right. Well, that leads to my next question to you again. So, how do you think how should enterprise design an architecture for multiple AI agents? Zach, to you.
How we should design an architecture.
Yeah.
So the people have done a fairly good amount of work around that. And the most important one is the model context protocol, right? What you don't want is for scale, you don't want to have a manual integration for each agent. So the framework would be find out how will you provide context, right? So it'd be one unified data platform. So it'd be a medallion architecture where you could have EDS and ODS, like have a centralized place where you can train your agents, or your agents are not bothered by lack of information, right? And then have this model context protocol where you only make agents talk to this protocol and let protocol talk to 50 other technology stack you have in your thing, right? And then have a very established AI policy, a very established do and don'ts. Really set a rule of the game before you start the game, right? And that will help. Otherwise, if you already started the game and then you're figuring out, hey, what is right, what is wrong, it will be very counterproductive. So there are a lot of frameworks already available, but I think this model context is very important. The context-based engineering is very important. Information engineering principles are very important. And having a very established governance around do and don'ts, what success looks like.
Glad. That leads to my next question, which is how can organizations govern AI agents without slowing innovation? Any one of you can answer, maybe. Zach, if you can.
Well, I'll take a um, quick peek on this one and then pass
All
it
right.
to Elizabeth. So we don't need to confuse saying, hey, governance is blocking the innovation. Is the side effect of us not deciding the rules of the game and start the game, right? So what happens, you don't want to go for security review for every agent you're planning to put in. Like there gotta be some sort of a big guideline through AI ML policy in the organization or a set of a rule book saying, hey, if you fall into those parameters, you're good to go, right? You don't need to come back and ask for every little thing. Can I do it? Can I not do it? That really helps. That do the magic. And second is more important thing is know what really matters, because in the name of innovation, see, we have limited time. So humans are time boxed. We don't have like thousands of years. So if you spend time on something which doesn't have value, then you're at risk of not spending time on something that does have value, right? So understanding how will you define value? Like I want to double in revenue, I want to be smarter, I want to be fast, the meetings needs to be effective, like whatever value means to you. And then everything needs to be around that, because in the name of innovation, you don't want to go saying, hey, this is a cool technology. Like cool is fine when the technology was picking up back like 20 years back, but cool is not enough anymore. It needs to have some sense, it needs to have some monetary value, it needs to have some sort of like, if you don't have this agent, some effect needs to happen, good or bad. You need to define saying, hey, what I'm losing if I don't have it. So a way to go towards your value, and have a very established ongoing reviewed your AI/ML policy, set the governing rule, and innovation will be easy. Like you have to have a sandbox where your developers don't have to ask for permission. And this sandbox needs to have all the guardrails where you say, hey, I'm secure. So that way your guys and girls, they can go ahead and try things without being interrupted saying, hey, you need to go for this approval, that approval, and they lose the momentum. We somehow underestimate the power of momentum. When we interrupt those technical teams in the name of security, in the name of governance, in the name of audit, in the name of whatever, it impacts the entire momentum of delivery. It impacts the creativity, it impacts the thinking, it impacts the R&D, the innovation, whatever. So for that reason, it is very important to set the engineering environment in a way that you're not raising your hand for every little thing, and knowingly or unknowingly, you're impacting your momentum. And that is very costly. It's very costly. Like momentum builds over months, over weeks as a result of continuous engagement, continuous meeting, endless phone calls. And if you're waiting 2 weeks for security approval, it's very non-productive from creativity standpoint.
Yeah, I like, Zach, when you said that you create those guardrails and let the agents go and do their thing and be innovative. I typically think of the guardrails as like, okay, what can the AI do by itself? When should it start checking in with a human? And then what can it not do at all? And then, yeah, after you get those parameters set up, you're good to go for the most part. And then I guess kind of tying to Aaron Keegan's question about governance and accelerating deployment. I challenge all executive leaders, decision makers, business owners to, before deploying any AI agent, to take your team to an offsite and just create a governance plan. Take a day or two, treat your team to some nice food, but really think about what you want your AI agents to do, what you don't want it to do, where you want your companies headed, how does it align with your company business goals. Um, and then from there, everyone's on board and can go and take action. So that's something I would talk to my clients about.
Great to hear both of you. I think, yeah, no, we all know that what all impacts this AI agents can bring to the organization. So we don't need to really slow it down, and simultaneously we can manage everything while training them for those AI agents and how what all impacts it can bring to the organization. Gradually, they can definitely learn and
And so
adapt to
I
it.
see a question here from Aaron, and if I can read it correctly, I think the question is saying, "Hey, how a good governance can accelerate the deployment of agents across the
Yeah,
enterprise," right?
yeah,
That's how I'm reading this.
yeah.
Um, th- think about traffic controls. When you're driving, if you're deciding on the road, should you go on red light or should you stop on red light? It will be very counterproductive. It will be chaos very quickly because, see, consider every car as an agent. You don't have a clarity saying, hey, red light is for go or it's for stop, or green is should park, or should I just leave the car? Once you have a very established governing rule, eventually it will create a flow. It will create a flow in a way, the way you want it to flow, right? So think about this traffic signal example. I just made it up. So once you have those guardrails, we usually call them, which is a very broad term, when you really say, hey, these are do's and these are don'ts, initially it'll be frustrating because you need to learn how to be effective with those rules. Like it is frustrating, middle of night, you're the only car and you're stopped because it's red light, right? But in a larger scheme of things, you will see it's very productive because it's very rare you're all by yourself. Maybe it's once in a month, but most of the time you have other people around you, and that helps. So it cannot be seen in an isolation, saying, hey, this governance piece is blocking me. It needs to be seen how this governing piece is impacting overall in a larger scheme of things, right? So the mistake we usually do is say, hey, this approval is causing me 3 months or is causing me 3 weeks. But then when you say in a larger scheme of things, saying, hey, once this approval is done, then I'm never coming back asking the same question. I'm done for rest of good because this is the first time one off. So it really helps expedite if you set the rule of the game before you start playing. The frustration will happen, failure will happen if you're figuring out middle of the road saying, hey, red light, what should I do? And then say, I need some approval, I need this, I need to make sure somebody else is coming from there, and it become a chaos. And in technology is a similar thing. Hope that answered the question.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So before I switch on to the move on to the next question, just a quick reminder to everyone watching: we want this to be a two-way conversation. So if you have any question for any of our panelists, put it in the chat. We'll pick up some of your questions as we go along. So feel free to put any questions, any thought that that comes in your mind. Just please feel free to drop it in the chat box. Right. So my next question to you, Elizabeth, how can AI agents be orchestrated across business processes and enterprise systems?
Yeah. So when I think of, I guess, business processes and across the whole organization, I kind of think of different departments. So every organization has an IT department, a sales, customer support, finance and purchasing, admin, and all of those departments, I would say, yeah, are run by a human that makes decisions, and they interact with internal teams or maybe externally to clients. And for every interaction, you can enhance their workday by putting an AI agent either before that interaction with the internal or external individual, during the interaction, or after the interaction. So I would simplify it as that you could deploy AI agents throughout your entire processes and organization in one of these three phases. And I guess for an example, for the before the human interaction is had, in one of these departments, I guess for your IT team, an AI agent can simply reset a password or unlock an account. For your purchasing department, Home Depot does this very well. You can check a status of an order just by simply uploading a receipt, and an AI agent does it all before it gets to the human. And actually, in this day and age, the younger generation prefers to handle these simple tasks with an AI agent. Um, for some reason, no human interaction is, I guess, preferred. Um, for your admin, we all spend several hours a week scheduling meetings. Is that really what we want to pay our employees to be doing? If we can eliminate the amount of time that that takes, having an AI agent, so we can move the business forward in other ways, it's a great example. And then for customer support, you can identify the caller or just answering simple questions related to like the hours of operation. So these are all examples of like tier one tasks that are very repetitive, but and not complex that an AI agent can do. But then if you move towards the human to human interaction, you can still deploy an AI agent during this conversation, and it can help enhance it by automatically pulling from your company database of information that you're talking about to help add to the conversation and make it more relevant. Um, it can coach your sales reps during a conversation. Um, it may be towards the end of the day, if your sales reps are sounding a little tired, the AI agent can just say, "Hey, Liz, maybe sound a little bit more energetic on this call." Um, it can, and lastly, I think for cord calls is another big thing, which leads to the after the interaction. AI agents can then create automated summaries. They can determine action items and divvy them up to respective employees in the organization, and then even tag the call or the meeting to a certain topic or department, which is very helpful and impactful when looking at your analytics for your company, especially for sales and seeing that, oh, most of our conversations or questions are around this topic. So maybe we should make sure our marketing is more clear in this area. Um, so that's how I would think about when deploying to different processes and different departments in your organization is really before, during, and after interaction.
All right. Thanks, Elizabeth. I have another question for you here. I think we are getting a comment from one of the audience who are joining us today. Would love to understand your view how governance can accelerating deploying agents across the enterprise and how important you think it is.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
so we
think,
spoke about it, right?
yeah, Zach just answered that.
Okay, that's been covered already. Well, thank you so much. Next question, I think, Elizabeth, to you. Explore identity, permissions, data protection, monitoring, security controls. So what role does security play in scaling agentic AI for you?
Yes, security is a very important role in scaling AI. Kind of like what Zach alluded to before, it's very important to get that governance plan out in the beginning, so you have a clear path of where to act and innovate. And like I said earlier, is I have two challenges for the audience in this question. The first challenge is yes, go to the offsite and make your governance plan, AI governance plans if you don't have one. But the second challenge is go to your CISO or cybersecurity leader and ask them where they are at and acting against the cybersecurity master plan for your company. And is the executive team checking in on it on a reoccurring cadence or basis? We all very good at checking in on the revenue generating master plans for our companies, but what happens when you are brought to a stop or a halt because you are in a breach or hacked and you have to pay a ransom, you don't have access to anything in your company? then you're going to wish that you were having a cadence with your cybersecurity master plan. So those are my two challenges to the audience. And another, I guess, statistic I wanted to share that really should drive this home is a quick Google search I did this morning. From 2024 to 2025, the number of non-human identities increased by 44% from over the last 2 years. So that means for every one human being on this earth, there are 144 non-human identities or AI agents. And these agents might have the privilege or ability to hack. It may do it better than a human. So that is very important why you should have your cybersecurity plan in place. And my last point is because of all of this going on with the increase of non-human identities, I bet you when your company goes for your cybersecurity insurance renewal this year or next year, the price will increase because of how important it is and how much work they have to do with AI on the table. So a little plug here is AIS does complimentary review of your technology spend or even cloud. And we typically find savings in your cloud usage that will help pay for this increase in cybersecurity insurance. So all in all, it's very important. That's something to take away from today's call is make sure your cybersecurity is in place.
All right. So next question to you, Zach. How should enterprises monitor and manage AI agents in production? What are your thoughts?
So like we discussed earlier, we need, as an organization, an enterprise agent catalog, right? So you have an enterprise agent catalog. If you remember 20 years back, we used to do this MDM and master data management and data catalog and groceries and all that. So now we need a similar practice around agents. So in that catalog, you would have ideally the area of focus, function, how many tokens you're using, the cost of total ownership, right? Because if the value this agent is creating is less than the cost you're spending on this agent, then the answer is clear, right? And you would not know it unless you have the complete enterprise lens and have an enterprise level catalog for all the agents. So you will lose the control very quickly if marketing is doing their own thing, sales is doing their own thing, finance have another 50,000 agents running. You need to see really from the cost standpoint, because the new thing, I think in the 3, 4, 5 years, you will hear a term a lot, which is BT, which is a business technology. So your competitive advantage is how costly is your technology, right? Because everybody have technology, everyone has full access to it, is commodity now. The only differentiator is how quickly and how cost effectively you're solving a problem. Agent, no agent. I mean, if it takes you 3 times more to solve a problem, what your competition is solving in 3 times less, then again, the answer is clear, right? You're not on the right path. So have a complete enterprise grade catalog and then manage based on those verticals, your cost of ownership, the lifespan of this agent, your plan to improve this agent, right? So think about the iterative improvement. I'll take you back a few years when we used to do this whole agile thing in software development, saying, hey, iterative improvement, right? So yes, we build the software, but it needs to improve. The moment it stop improve, you categorize it as legacy. And 2 things needs to happen. Either something new needs to come in to replace legacy, or this needs to continuously improve. So we need to get all those software engineering good practices around those agent development as well. You need to find a way to decommission them. You need to find a way to improve them. You need to find a way to keep them cost effective. You need to find a way to keep them secure and improve security. So the security threat, which was there 5 years back, is no more a threat, right? Now you have a bigger problems to deal with. Last and the most important thing, to manage AI, the best way is to manage it through AI, because you will not be able to manage it without AI. So if you have Copilot or you have, say, Gemini or you're a Claude shop, the pace you can produce this stuff is phenomenal. You cannot manage, monitor, catalog, secure in a traditional way. You have to look into your cyber defense, agentic cyber defense. You have to look into agentic catalog performer or catalog producer or agentic monitoring. So this is a very interesting time where you would need technology to manage technology.
Okay. Well, my next question to one of you, which is what operating model is required to manage agentic AI at scale? Zach, would you like to take that, or Elisa?
Elizabeth, go ahead.
Please.
Yeah, when I think about operating model, I think the first thing we alluded to earlier in the call is you need an owner to manage your AI. Maybe if you a new role in a company would be your AI governance leader or chief AI officer. We already talked about having the ground rules before letting it go and deploying it. But I think the whole entire operating structure should be surrounded by KPIs. And some KPIs that are very popular when it comes to AI is a zero touch resolution rate. So can the AI agent fix the problem without a human getting involved? Hallucination or accuracy percentage, task completion rate, how many tasks are done in a day, week, year's time, cost per resolution, like Zach just alluded to, and first contact resolution. Does the individual have to come back to the agent a second and third time to get the problem solved, or does the agent does it on the first try? So I think a summary of everything we've already talked about today, to really ensure that your AI in an organization is deployed and going well, you need to keep track of it with KPIs.
Well, thank you. To the audience who are listening to us right now, let's make this interesting. If you could deploy one AI agent tomorrow to solve a problem in your organization, what do you think? What would you want that agent to do? Share your answers in the chat. And I think our panelists may just give some ideas on that as well. I'd like to hear from you. Any one of you, please. So now moving on to my next question, which is how can organization move from AI experimentation to measurable business outcomes? Elizabeth?
So
Or Zach?
this first, okay.
Zach, you can go first.
Okay. Measurable outcomes. This is very interesting one because the way we calculate ROI in organization, it depending who you ask from, right? So everybody's, if you see in the legacy technology shop, everyone's ROI is different. But with agents operating at enterprise level, it needs to create some benefit to enterprise across the board, right? So what you really need to do is, it needs to have a way to have positive impact on your P&L. Either it's number of hours you're reducing or you're doing some reputational improvement where this agent is talking to customer and customers are very happy. You're reducing a waiting time on that the 900 or 100 call number where people used to wait for 15 minutes and now they're not waiting. Some shape or form, it needs to indicate improvement. And that improvement should be able to translate into dollar value. Why I'm saying dollar value? Because what you're paying for this agent is a dollar value. You're not paying for this agent in an efficiency model, right? You're not saying, hey, Gemini, I'll put 50,000 agents and I'll give you 50,000 hours for free, and say, we don't need your hours for free. We need so much so in terms of licensing, so much so in contracting, right? So do not confuse it saying, hey, it made me efficient or it made me effective. that's okay, but it needs to find a way to translate into dollar value. Otherwise, you will fail on your assignment one, which is figure out the ROI, figure out the total cost of ownership, figure out the concept of BT versus IT. IT was different. IT was enabling you. I have a printer enabling me whenever I need print, I have it, right? What value this printer is creating, that nobody's thinking about it. But it's a one-time buy. You bought it. The life is 5 years. That's all. You print it, and no question asked. This is just enablement feature. You're not expected to grow your business with this printer. You're not expected to become a top 500 Fortune. You're not expected to increase your revenue with that printer or whatever software we buy or Adobe per se. But when you go with this whole agent, it is meant to be bringing some sort of improvement in terms of dollar value to the organization. Have this clarity. If it's not doing this, then what's happening? Dollars are going out in terms of licensing. Dollars are going out in terms of support, in terms of talent, in terms of manageability, in terms of all 9 yards. But then this become a hobby then instead of a business, right? So hobby is, yes, I'm happy to spend money on it, but I'm not expecting anything in return. This is hobby, right? This is hobby. I mean, my hobby is like I'll plant trees, but am I expecting anything out of them? No. My hope and prayer is they don't die because I like them, right? So be very careful. Run it like a business. Don't run it like a hobby, and it can turn into hobby very quick, right? So I think this will really help. This is a whole new mindset we all are learning together. And the faster we learn, the less damage it's going to create.
Yeah, I love, Zach, what you said about thinking of it in terms of we're all business owners here or work for a business. We need to make money. We need to be profitable. And thinking of like some clients or people I work with, like for example, like a reason, a profitable use for an AI agent could be a roofing company in terms of hurricane season. You're not going to go hire extra sales reps to answer the phone during hurricane season and then go lay them off. Having the AI agents will help answer the phone calls, have the current humans be more efficient so that the calls don't go to their competitor. And you're then making more revenue and can capture all those leads. Or even a moving company. They're very popular in the summertime. I actually am in the process of moving, and our mover yesterday says that he is never home in the summer. And I bet he is leveraging AI agents to capture all the leads and calls he has in the summertime. Because why would he go out and hire more people for that time as well? So yeah, no, it is definitely you have to keep the money mindset in terms of how you're leveraging AI.
Great to hear both of you. And we are getting few questions are here in the chat box. Would like to take them before we move ahead with our next question. I think if we go back on the top, we have when you evaluate an orchestrator agent, what are the main things you look for? That was the question from one of the audience. Zach, would you like to answer, or
Sure.
Elizabeth?
Yeah, Elizabeth, you want to take it?
I would say the number one thing I look for right now, with voice agents, I guess the same as with conversational, is having a human aspect. I don't want my agent to sound robotic. Like nowadays, they can have the giggle, they can be empathetic. I think that is very important. But if it's going to do tasks and be an executor in a company, I guess that would be a different answer for that question.
Yeah. And my take is on this is think about when you go buy a car, right? You don't say what kind of car you're gonna look and buy. You actually go as per your need, right? So you go saying what you're trying to achieve with that. There are thousands of kind of cars, like starting from Jeep and off-road and Brungley and this and that and all that. right? I mean, if you want to do an off-roading, of course, you will not go with a low-profile car, right? So you will be swamped with the diversity of technology, which will be coming in maybe in next 1 year, right? Google alone have announced like over 100 billion only in budgeting for this year. So there will be no shortage of excitement. Knowing what you're trying to achieve will be a differentiator between success or failure. If you go from the tool standpoint, then it's a hands down failure. But if you go from need standpoint, then you have a chance. That's my thinking on this.
Great. I hope you get your answer. Erin, I think Erin is asking this question. Next question coming from Vinay. What new roles or skills are needed to operate agentic AI at scale?
It's it's a new technology. Uh, think about it if the differentiator would be how well you can use it, right? See, one thing is very good happening across the industry. We don't have a pressure of building anything. It is phenomenal. It was not like this 30 years, 20 years, 10 years back, even 5 years back. You have four bigs. You have Azure there, AWS there, OCI is there. You have Google big in the game. Collectively, they're investing like every year around 5 billion, 500 billion to 700 billion. So you have no pressure of building something. The pressure you have is to be creative, stitching your solution in the most effective way, leveraging any of these technology. So the skill set you need is like how well you know these technologies and how good a stitcher you are to solve a problem, right? Because you have all that labor force available, you have all the billions of dollars worth technology available. But if you fail to stitch an effective, lasting, scalable solution, that's a problem, right? So the skill you need to see things from the business lens, to see things from the cost effectiveness lens, and see things from the lastingness standpoint, right? So before cloud computing, we used to be DBAs, we used to be system admin and network engineer and all that. But cloud engineering changes and saying, hey, you're not DBA. You need to understand the cost of your storage. You need to understand the cost of your replication because replication is a separate tool. It's not all embedded in one licensing. It's the same time repeating 15, 20 years after in the name of AI. You need to understand what you are stitching and how effective you could be stitching it, right? Because AI is AI. I mean, if you use it wrong, it will make you poor faster.
Okay, thank you. Well, I think most of the questions are already covered, which we received in the chat. So I would like to go ahead with my question that for you guys, which is how can organization move from AI experimentation to measurable business outcomes?
You want
Any
to
one
go
of you,
first?
Elizabeth,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah. I think we were just talking about that. I mentioned the roofing company and hurricane season. Um, I don't know, Zach, if you have anything else to add for that.
I think you got it covered. I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Nevertheless, we can move on to the next question, which is what will enterprises' agentic AI look like over the next few years?
This
Mhm.
is a big question. Because it's already moved so fast in the last 1 year. I don't know if you guys remember, like at the beginning of this year, CEOs were asking, all right, go use AI. And it became very conversational, just ask immediate questions. And then it turned into more token maxing. And now we're more cautious about how we prompt. We want to make sure we're getting the most out of each submission. So a few years from now, I am a little scared to even think about where AI will be because it's changing every day. I tell people if you're not embracing AI now, you will be left behind. Like you need to get in the game today. And everyone here on this call means you are embracing it. So great job. I don't know. I do foresee More robots probably in the world, or just technology growing faster because there's AI to help enhance it. But that it is a big thought, and I am unsure.
You would like to add anything, Zach, on that?
Sure. This is it's rather very entertaining question. So when technology was picking up, we all had same opportunity. What we saw after 20, 30 years, some become billionaires, some end up on working for them, some end up on raising funds for them, some ending up buying their shares, right? So it's gonna be no different. We all have equal opportunity with AI. Some will become billionaires, some will work for those billionaires, and some will end up on buying their shares. The reason I'm saying this is the opportunity you're waiting for is actually yourself. If you don't realize this opportunity, then either you will work for the people who does, or you end up on buying their shares, say the least, saying, hey, because you need to be part of the economy, somehow you need to support you. I think the opportunity here is the complete cycle of technology where people say, hey, we lost the opportunity, we could have been Microsoft. I mean, you could be Microsoft today. This is really a Microsoft moment back in 89s or 90s. You could build anything you want. Look what Clark is able of doing. Look the powerful integration they are providing. You can spin your company like literally in 2 days. You can do your complete lifecycle map calculator and publish it. I mean, you can do things. So if anything would change is the way we think. So I don't see much changing. You will see a repetition of pattern probably with the different generation, and every generation have creators and thinkers and slow performers and followers. You decide. I mean, you want to be thinker, creator, followers, or be just different. I mean, just learn what is out there, and it will kick a lot of creativity. You don't have to be Einstein to solve it. You just learn. Like $700 billion investment somebody is doing on your behalf, and you have equal opportunity. Spend 2 hours every day on this thing, and it's gonna help your creativity, right? So it's still relevant.
Staying relevant is what he's suggesting. And thank you so much. So, well, on that note, I think it's now time for the open forum. If you still have any questions, any thoughts coming in your mind, anybody of you who's joining us live right now, please leave your comments. And whether you are exploring how to scale agentic AI, strengthen security, or build the right enterprise architecture, our experts are here to answer your questions. We'll just quickly take one or two questions. If any one of you want to share something, I think most of the questions are already covered. The topics. Shall we wait? Okay, I think we can wrap it up here. On that note, thank you so much. Well, so if there is one thought I'd leave you with today, it's this: scaling agentic AI isn't simply about deploying more agents, it's about building the right foundation, governance, security, orchestration, integration, and an operating model that allows AI to create sustainable business value. And that's exactly where organizations can move from AI experimentation to AI at scale. So thank you for joining us for today's session. And we have explored so many things today about AI pilots and scale agentic AI. So on that note, I will take your leave. Thank you so much to our panelists. Thank you so much, experts, for joining us today. So thank you, everyone. Stay connected with Pronix.ai as we continue helping organizations scale AI agents responsibly, securely, and with measurable business impact. That note, goodbye. Thank you.